Where's Jack?
Morning, Kayla.
Good morning.
I do not know. I
Like,
suspect that he's preparing himself, but usually he's very
Okay.
prompt.
Yeah. Hold on.
I hope he's
Trying to
okay.
get my AirPods to connect. So maybe this one.
Testing,
There.
testing,
They've
testing,
connected.
testing.
Yep, I'm here.
Okay, cool.
Hello?
Hey, hey. Testing, testing, testing,
Ah,
testing.
yep, I'm here.
Okay. All right.
How's the weather over there? I know you don't like the that conversation. I just asked you something that I know you don't like, but I
There's
really am
probably a
genuinely
reason for that.
curious about how the weather is over there.
Okay, it's a fraction cloudier than it was yesterday. Still beautiful. The grass is very green. Yesterday I should have gone out there and taken a picture, but I was busy chatting. But early in the morning, there was a mist, a cloud over the water. So I couldn't see the water. It was like, I was above the clouds. I always love mornings and days like that. Today,
Hmm.
it's not like that. Today, I can see the water.
Nice.
Yeah. So, yes, yesterday was beautiful. It was a great drive up to Bellingham, great drive back. And right now it's about 46 degrees here.
46 is cold.
Not at all. This is great weather. This is t-shirt weather here.
Nice.
Not really. I have long sleeve, but it's not jacket. I don't need a jacket when I go out there. When I was doing Tai Chi regularly every day and walking my daughter to school,
Yeah.
even in the winter, it could get down to 34 or 33 degrees, and I'd walk her to school. Then on the way back, there's a park between our old house and the elementary school. So
Uh-huh.
I would stop at the park on the way back and do Tai Chi. And I would work up a sweat. So even in 33, 34-degree weather, eventually I just got down to my single layer long sleeve tee, which I wear, or a regular t-shirt. I would take
Hmm.
off my sweatshirt, whatever. So it would be quite fine doing Tai Chi at 33 degrees, 34. I don't think I ever did it at 32, but at 33 or 34, yes, that was regularly. So I could actually, do my warm-ups, do my Tai Chi, be sweating, and still feel very good wearing only a t-shirt or a regular shirt at 33 degrees after I was doing at least, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes of Tai Chi.
Nice.
Yeah, I really enjoyed doing that.
Must have gotten your energy up.
Definitely, definitely. And
Good.
and when you're doing that and your blood flow is working well, even at that temperature, if I shake hands with somebody, this is wow,
Uh-huh.
your hands are warm,
Yeah.
even at 33. That's cool.
Awesome. Very.
Yeah. I have to confess these days I'm not as regular with Tai Chi.
It
I've
happens.
been I've been doing my stretches though.
Oh,
Stretches are pretty
good.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
And squats.
Yeah. What
Mhm.
number are you up to now with squats?
Still 20. I'm still doing 20. I'm
Yeah.
still too lazy to bump it up.
It
Because I'm doing
happens.
some things. I do the side to side shift, when you point your toes up when you shift to the other side. And then there's this really fascinating stretches I'm finding where you get into, I don't you probably know bow stance, and then you swing your
Hmm.
arms behind yourself and try and point towards the ceiling or point
Yep.
towards. And that's really, really a good stretch.
You would probably enjoy hot yoga. Were
I tried it one time,
you dying?
and it wasn't the heat that bothered me. It was that I felt like I couldn't breathe as easily in that heat.
Yeah,
Maybe if I got used to it, I would get used to it. So I've only tried it one time.
yeah. The heat is a bit suffocating. Um, there's like when I first started, there were ways that I could help with that. So for instance, if usually there's mirrors. I don't know if your establishment had mirrors, but the mirror, the back of the room closest to the door is where I would um, lay my towel
Hmm.
because if it got too hot, then the teacher would briefly open that and then
Hmm.
close it. But you had more airflow towards the back of the
Ah.
room. Yeah. And then slowly I got used to the heat and it was kind of nice, actually. But the good part about it is the yoga instructors understand that, your body is going at its own pace. So there were some times where I skipped a lot of the poses and then just laid down.
Hmm.
And then that itself just made me feel good because it's like laying down in a sauna.
Yeah, exactly.
And you could lay face down or face up.
Hmm. So how long did you do
Yeah.
that? And did you see some long-term benefits?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I used to practice hot yoga regularly. When I had Max, it was instrumental for me to get back into shape. So I lost weight almost right away. I wasn't ever quite as skinny and as fit as I was before I had kids, but I still was like at a good weight after I had Max. And then I practiced it regularly before COVID, shortly before COVID, because my ex boyfriend paid for my monthly subscriptions. So it
Hmm.
was really nice to be able to do that. Every morning I'd go and go to hot yoga. So I felt good every day that I practiced.
Hmm.
Yeah, so much so that I actually wanted to become a yoga instructor. But then the pandemic happened, and you know,
Well, it's probably returning, right? People aren't afraid of COVID anymore.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, it doesn't make that much money. I'm not that into it to do it.
Well, you'd be unique probably if you combine yoga with your dance.
That's what originally my original thought
Yeah.
was to do that, or at least introduce like the grounding music of the drums to it.
Hmm. I'm drinking hot water because for some reason I woke up and my throat was drier than normal.
Oh, I know. The kids were their nose was running yesterday or last night.
Mm.
Yeah, we went to a another escape room. We
Oh.
actually escaped with 20 minutes left on the clock or 15,
Mm.
which was really nice. We don't do it to beat the leaderboard. We just do it for fun. So
How many
that was a
people in
lot
the
of fun.
group?
Just us three.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The kids always do better than I do. At some point, they just take over and I just stand there.
I've never tried an escape room. That's
Oh, it's a lot of
interesting.
fun. It'll challenge your brain in a way that makes you feel kind of stupid.
Okay.
So,
I'll see if they do that around here. I've never heard of it.
yeah,
Nobody's ever talked about it up here.
you should. You should totally do it. It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Does it require physical capabilities that I don't have?
Oh no, not at all.
It's all mental.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was one where like I had to crawl, but it wasn't even bad. There was an alternative to crawling. So,
Well, I went to go see my daughter again yesterday.
yeah, how did that go?
That's the third day in a row.
Nice.
I don't
Did she ask
recall
you questions?
she did
Okay, good.
because after the first conversation earlier this week, I gave her a little homework. So I said, do this, do that, the other thing. Okay, so I sent her a CSV file, and it was just some stock ticker data. And I said, see what you can do with this. So the next day she asked me, so what does close mean? What does volume mean? So I went over the market and how it works and how futures work. So we had a conversation about that. So then yesterday I took my laptop after we had a burger. She took a small digression. I have never ever been to a drive up burger stop, one where they have like 12 to 20 parking spaces and somebody comes out to your car and there's a menu
Oh
just
yeah.
right there.
Yeah. Those old school.
Yeah, exactly. Like from the 50s, or I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
That's the first time in my life I've ever done that. So anyway, she wanted to try it. She's been there before one time. She thought I might like it. It was kind of fun. They had the 50s music, rocking there.
Yeah.
But the one detail that was missing was the person that came out was not on roller skates.
Oh.
He's just
There's no
walking.
fun in that.
Yeah, but it's fine. It was actually amazingly affordable and fun experience because a bunch of these gourmet burger
Yeah.
places. I don't know about down in LA area, but geez, they're charging like 18, $19, sometimes $20 a burger
Uh-huh.
at these gourmet places. And here it was like what was it? For about $7 or $8, you got a burger, not stupendously large, but as a, you couldn't say it was too small. It's a regular sized burger, some fries, and a drink.
Hmm.
And that was remarkably affordable given, what I know about prices today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Anyway, small digression. So anyway, after we went to the burger place, we went back to her apartment and I showed her what that data looked like on a trading screen. And I showed her how things go up, things go down. You can't predict. You think you see a trend. It may just turn around really quick, So we had that kind of conversation. And then I showed her how to do a trade in real time, like actual real by the second, chart activity. So she had never seen that before. So we went through all that. So anyway, that was a fun session I had with Veronica yesterday.
Okay.
And
Nice.
of course, she asked questions about why does this work this way? Why does this work that way? What happens to this? What happens to that? So that was a good opportunity to have those conversations. And that 3 straight days of serious conversations with Veronica, I don't think that's ever happened before in her life.
Nice.
So anyway, I've had some nice opportunity to give Nick and Veronica both some perspective about working. And it's interesting that I haven't yet had that opportunity with Amy.
Yeah, well, that's gonna take some time
Mm.
considering your history.
Did I tell you I saw her a few weeks ago?
Yes, you did.
Yeah, I'm really, really happy about things turning around a little bit. So I'm thinking that's going to be a lot easier. But I wasn't going to try and press it and do it too frequently too soon.
How old is she again?
Amy,
Uh-huh.
4, 6, she's 32. She'll be 32 in October, so she's 31 right now.
Oh, wow. 31.
Hmm.
I
I
think I
think
was
I
at the
was. Yeah, you?
No, you think you were what when you were 31?
No, I interrupted you. You speak, please.
I was gonna say, I think I was at the height of my beauty when I was 31.
Wow. You still have pictures from those days?
Yeah, I do. I remember I would like literally stop traffic. Um,
Whoa.
yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Hmm.
I was very confident in who I was, and I had already gone through some interesting hardships. Um, and I was doing capoeira, plus I was dancing. I was still winning too.
Mhm.
um, yeah, and then I found a new circle of friends, and that's how I met my ex. And I just remember I was in one of the best shapes of my life. So people would like pull up to me at a stoplight and like totally check me out. I
And
was
did you
even
acknowledge them or did you just ignore them?
I would just ignore them.
Yeah.
I was used to the harassment of men, so
Mm.
you know. But it was funny. I think when I discovered I was pregnant, I was still riding a bike. And I would just ride it casually. And I remember I was like, while I was on my bike, I was stopped by some guy, like in a car. He pulled over and like, excuse me. And then he just like wanted my number and just wanted to talk to me. And I said, "Hey, I'm pregnant." And then he's like, "What? Why are you riding a bike then?" I'm like, "Because I can."
Exactly.
How did I left me alone? I remember I used to skateboard too. Um, I remember I was totally high. I was like smoking weed a lot. And then I had this white dress on. I was a very free spirited person. And I took this like long skateboard at night in the evening and I just decided to skate around with it. And it was so funny because my friends told me that I looked like a ghost, like skating around the neighborhood with my hair, like in a white dress with my hair flowing behind me.
Hmm.
So 31 was a good age. And then I got knocked up, and then I've been trying to regain myself since then. It's been quite a journey.
I'm mauling my cat.
That's kind of what I want to talk about, like the journeys of life. You and I are in a good age now where we can really look back and say that we've experienced a lot. But how do you feel in your body right now? Like, do you still feel like your body and your mind are connected?
Explain connected.
Okay, I'll give you an example. When I was in my 30s, I felt very much that my body and mind were aligned with each other. There was no questioning my age. There was no, like, it was as if I was just living simply in my body, right? With
Hmm.
whatever age I was at. Now that I'm in my 50s, my mind from time to time still feels like it's in that, that newness of youth. And it's only because
You're,
I've discovered
you sound like you're far from your
things
microphone now.
still,
Are
which
you?
is always a good thing, right?
Hey,
When we're
Kayla, you
learning
sound like you're
to
far
move,
from your
but my
microphone.
body is not there. So my body and my mind are not. And the only way I can is if I like this morning I meditate. Sometimes I'll go into active meditation or walking. That's the only time it's connected. But even then, my body feels kind of foreign. It's like, oh my God, who is this old fat woman? What is this?
Hmm, interesting.
do you do you feel that way? Have you ever felt that way with your body?
I don't ever feel like it's a different entity. I do feel that I'm not as flexible as I used to be, but I still feel like myself.
Hmm.
And so that's why your question kind of made me pause and think about what that really meant. But that feeling that you just described, I don't think I feel that very much. Other than, like I said, that it's stiffer and I
Oh
have to.
shit.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm here. No, I could hear you.
Yeah, by the
You
way,
cut out for a little bit.
when you were talking, it's either my headphones or your earbuds, but it sounded like you were far from your microphone for about a minute. But then it
Oh,
just came back.
that's strange.
So I wonder if it's my headphone, but these are freshly charged. I just pulled them off the charger just before the session started.
Just the same with mine. They're freshly charged too, so who knows? Maybe it's both of us.
Were you walking? Were you moving?
No, I'm right here doing, I mean, I guess I'm moving because I'm doing my laundry, but
Mhm.
the phone is like practically right next to me.
So it might be on my side, but I've just been sitting here right on my PC. Anyway, sorry about that. Good thing that the audio is back. So anyway, in answer to your question, I don't feel like it's a foreign body. Well, number one, I never used to identify myself with my physical exploits other than being able to play my violin. Okay, that was physical. Then I got into doing Tai Chi, and that felt good because then I could basically, I mean, it's basically Taoism in movement. So once I do that, or once I do my warm-ups, that feels pretty good, even though I'm not yet as flexible as I was 20 years ago. But those are the only two senses in which I have any identification or identity with my body and how it feels and its limitations. So I don't know if that's a satisfactory answer to you.
Well, I guess everybody is different, and that would make sense. But when I'm talking about like the journey of humanity in our minds,
Hmm.
I don't know. I had a thought and now it's escaped me.
Is it that a lot of your identity was exactly how your body looked, appeared, felt, was able to move, and that's what people associated with your identity?
No, no, it was more just like an overall, like considering the journey of humanity overall, not the greater humanity, but coming back to the individual, if
Let's
that makes
see.
any sense.
Okay, so let's take an extreme case. When you're born, that's pretty much all you are, right? You're a fresh lump of protoplasm. You get smacked on the butt, and your brain has almost no organized, way of making sense out of anything. So a baby is pretty much just a body, right? Unless there's been some brain development in vitro. No, is that right? In vivo? One of those two.
Yeah, yeah. No, I totally get what you're talking about.
And then you sort of take a look at, let's say, Barry in his last few weeks. When we think about Barry, we don't think about what he could do physically. Well, maybe we do. He can fix things. But that was mostly his mind, right? Barry is mostly mind and voice in his later stages.
Yeah.
I'm setting up a hypothetical, chart. So baby, mostly physical, end of life, mostly mental. Is that the, arc of life, the journey of life that we're trying to fill in here? Because I get that. That is pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And I think people like MMA fighters, I think they're going to definitely be very identified with their bodies
Yeah,
and their
yeah.
capabilities, even though they think strategically during a fight. I get that. Okay. And let's say if I were to really practice my violin a lot, yes, my body is important. If my shoulder hurts, then I won't be able to do certain things. You know, my fingers can't move, I won't be able to do certain things. But it's not going to matter whether I can run 10 miles without stopping. That's a different kind of capability. And musicians, I'm not sure about dancers, but musicians like violinists and conductors and cellists and whatever, they can go into their 90s and still be pretty facile if they keep practicing.
Right, right.
And yet, you know, the more they study music, the more they interpret music, the more they explain their music, that's clearly all very mental as well, especially conductors when they have to study scores. Because I don't know what my point is, but I'm just trying to point out certain aspects of the way some people live certain kinds of lives and how that might affect this, you know, left to right physicality to mentality picture that we're trying to fill in.
Yeah, no, I get it. Um, it's really interesting. I started watching, uh, God, who did I watch? I watched somebody who described that you're born with certain reflexes and where that actually comes from. So when you were talking about babies, it just made me smile. Did you know babies can actually hold on like to their weight and lift themselves? So if you took like a baby's grip and you lifted it like the baby, it would actually be able to like hold on and lift itself with you. Infant, newborn, right?
Good to know.
Um, yeah. And they said that that stemmed from the fact that, like if you think about apes and gorillas,
Hmm.
they're holding on to their mom while they're running away.
Exactly.
Well, I think the
Well,
mom's
the
running
mom's,
away
you know,
from something.
jumping from
Yeah.
here to there.
Yeah. And then also, if you throw a baby in water, you probably know this. A lot of people know this. It could actually swim. It actually knows how to hold its breath and swim. And so it loses, over time, some of these reflexes because the brain is making way for new things. The brain could actually hold only so much, I believe. Um, and then you gain it back, of course. So, anyways, when I was thinking about manifesting, when I was thinking about my dad, I wrote a letter to my dad. Like I said, I write every day, and I
Hmm.
decided to change it up today. So instead of writing in my story worth, since it's Sunday, I decided to write to my dad. And I know he's like there is like a strong. I don't know how to explain this presence or feeling. Like when I think about my dad, I think about all of these like cells around me, these like little minute um, invisible cells of energy. Then I feel like that's my dad. Like he's here, he's everywhere. Um, but for so long, he was tethered to his body. And in my letter, I wrote, you know, that it had been a couple of years, but I really wished I could engage in a conversation with him. I miss him, but I miss him when he was healthy. And it was too bad that I wasn't able to do that, during the last decade of his life, is to engage in these conversations like I'm having with you. It would have been really nice to have that with my dad. But his body was slowly giving away. However, his mind, even though his mind was giving way for a while, the core of his mind was still the same. My mom told me that every time we went to the doctor, my dad could memorize, certain things while my mom, even though her body is healthy, she had trouble, So it just makes me think of, the purpose here on earth. Like I feel like we are tethered to this body. And as humans, if you want to think of, higher beings and higher purpose, like if we are tied to this earth, um, is our journey a just like where are we in school? What's the journey of the soul? What's the purpose of the body? When you're describing something like violinists, and how connected they are to the music, that to me is union with, of course, your body. And what I'm considering myself, you know, um, there is like a disconnection with my body, and of course, my mind is how I personally feel. Where not to like my body has now become a place where I just live, where my soul kind of lives, right? It's not something that's connected to movement anymore because I no longer dance and all of that good stuff. So, anyways, those are the things that I was just thinking about. As I thought
Okay.
maybe we could bear a topic on the connection of the mind and the body and on Earth and our journey.
I think you've already done it. So, I mean, brought up the topic, I mean. So let me ask you a question. If you were to practice dancing again and, really, really get good at it, do you think you would regain that connection with your body?
Yeah, absolutely.
Ah, okay.
It would take some time though. And I suppose I should stop comparing myself to when I was younger because now it's a different journey.
So is that something you
Ah,
want to do, or is it something that you've said, well, I don't have time to do this anymore, and I'm focusing on
um,
other things?
no, I'm trying to I think I mentioned this before. To I'm trying to get that organic feeling back again. Like I don't want to be pushed into something, but because I love dancing so much. I'll always have love for dancing, but I don't want to be pushed into something that I feel like I've already given 150% to.
Mhm.
I want it to come back organically, naturally. Um, and if it doesn't ever come back, then it doesn't ever come back. But I do not want to push that because that's a part of my journey to myself that I hold very sacred. And I get really like sensitive when um, you know people are encouraging me. It's not nothing bad at all, but it's again, it's like a sacred part of me that's not quite there. Like I already know. Um, I've already been there. I've already climbed the fucking mountain. You know what I mean? It's like I feel like there are people who climb like the highest, what the Himalayas or the highest mountain in the world, and they do that several times. I feel like I've already done it several times. So, you know, um, I want to be able to tell myself like, okay, if I feel like I'm going to do it, if I want to do it again, then it will be on my terms. But for now, that journey is dormant. I feel like the contributions from that journey are starting to come out another way, and I want to explore that other way.
Yes, that I resonate with. That I resonate with. Can I tell you how that came out in conversation yesterday?
Yeah, yeah, do it.
Veronica and Nick and Amy and I, at different times, all were doing Taekwondo. And Nick and Amy had previously done Wushu, which is the Chinese Shaolin Kung Fu. And I have gone on since to do Tai Chi. But Veronica is the only one of the four of us who stuck with Tai Chi and committed and got her black belt. And we were having conversation yesterday about, oh, she doesn't know if she can do the programming required to do want, or she doesn't know if she can actually learn a new language or pick up another new tool like SQL, et cetera, et cetera. And I said, Veronica, you're the only one of us, the four of us, who has the discipline, who has the commitment to actually go through and finish a really, really strategic objective.
Mhm.
And I know this about her. She doesn't like certain things and she complains about certain things, but she gets it done. And this
Yeah.
happened a lot when she was in school.
Yeah.
So I think that's a part of her character nobody can ever take away. And that to me gives me much confidence that whatever she does end up doing, she will do probably pretty well.
Right.
And it gave her that perspective. And she didn't immediately react, but I think she heard it. So the
Yeah.
fact that you've been at the top of the hill, you know what it took to get there. I don't think I was ever best at the world, you know, at anything. I was not the best, in the world at violin. I was not the best in the world at programming. I was not the best in the world at, I don't know, you name it. Even collaborology. I still identify myself as an amateur collaborologist,
Right. Right.
and that's okay with me. I want to just keep asking questions
Well, most people are at level one anyway.
in everything, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Uh-oh. Hold on for a second, okay?
Okay,
If I drop off, I'll come back on. Hold on.
okay.
Are you there? Uh-oh. Let me see. Sam?
Yes, I'm here. I just put
Oh,
myself
good.
on mute. I had to unmute myself.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe you were getting coffee.
Everything okay? No, I'm actually feeding Gaia Hera for some strange reason.
Yeah.
Is it making for breakfast yet?
Oh, by the way, I just had like half a steak.
This
I
morning
was,
for breakfast?
yeah.
Was it still good, or did you just make it
Oh,
this
hell
morning?
yeah. No, no, it's
Uh,
still good. I did what was it? I fried up some steak yesterday for me and the kids. And I got this like awesome value pack that was on sale. I don't know if your local grocery store does this, but like sometimes Vons and Ralph's will have manager deals.
hmm,
And I must have taken the last manager deal for this like 4 pack of ribeye steak,
hmm.
boneless too. I was like, hell yeah. So I took it. And I was so excited to fry it up. I haven't had a good steak in a while. I mean, it's just so expensive.
How did you prepare it? I just want to hear all the gory details.
Oh yeah, I just fried it and put salt and pepper on it. You know,
Did you
ribeye steak
sear the
is
sides first?
no. I just straight up fried it.
How many
So,
minutes on each side?
I don't know. This is like what my dad told me. This is how he said you'll know when a steak is ready if it's like this. And so, I cooked it at medium heat because I was cooking something else. I was cooking these Brussels sprouts, and I'll tell you about that later. So, anyways, you're supposed to cook it anywhere between like high to medium heat. Medium. So if you want to cook it where it's medium rare or rare, you're going to want to cook it on high heat.
Mm-hmm.
And you can flip it over when you start to see like the blood pooling
Mm-hmm.
up
Mm-hmm.
on top is when you know you can flip it over. And so
Mm-hmm.
that will give you a medium rare on like high to medium heat. Now I
Mm-hmm.
was cooking it on medium because I was also cooking vegetables. So this one actually ended up being medium well, if not like a little slightly well, because
Wow.
it didn't have the same, it was cooking so slow, it didn't have like the same blood pooling,
Yes. Yes.
so I had to flip it over.
Mm-hmm.
But it was still good nonetheless. And then I use butter. I don't use like olive oil. From time to
Mm-hmm.
time, I'll use olive oil and butter, but I really like how the butter, when it's done, you can spoon it over rice, you can spoon it
Yes.
over like the steak.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and I like to keep the fat. Like to me, obviously not a huge chunk of fat, but my dad used to tell me like if there's a sliver of fat in the middle, it'll give it taste, you know? Um, just as long as there's not too much fat. Just like he said, the best ones, the tastiest ones are the ones with a little bit of fat, especially if it's in the middle. So that's how he used to teach me about the perfect steak or the perfect meat.
Yep.
Now, if you want to talk about porterhouse steak or filet mignon, those are prepared differently. And I do use the broiler for that, or the oven, whatever. Like it's kind of the same, but it's only because those are thicker cuts of steak than they would have to like be cooked a little bit more on the inside and seared on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I used to look for the blood myself. I haven't done it much lately. I haven't cooked a steak in a very long time. And the last steak I made for myself, this was a couple of years ago for a birthday. I used the smoker.
Mm,
I got a,
mm.
big prime round, it's about 5 or 6 pounds.
Yeah.
Put it in the
Yeah.
smoker at low, like 185, or you can even go a little bit lower, and just let it sit for hours and hours and hours. And it was perfect. It was perfect prime rib. In fact, it was
Yeah.
so much. I think I had like the equivalent of two prime rib steaks that evening. But hey, it was my breakfast. So it was my birthday.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this morning I fried an egg so that I could make it breakfast.
Hmm. Oh, cool. So you could call it steak and eggs breakfast. Okay,
Yeah,
get it.
yeah, exactly.
Right, right,
Over rice, of course. You have to have it
right.
over rice.
Yeah, yeah. Did you dump ketchup all over the steak?
No.
Of course not. I'm just joking.
Yeah, yeah. See, I really love our talk about manifesting, and of course, our talk about like, uh, our journeys. And so, one of the things that I've been like really thinking about is again how to utilize what I've learned from dance aside from the actual like movement itself, but everything else that I've learned and how to pay it forward,
Mm.
how to use that in every single sense, either with like my me personally or through work, is to just like capture those lessons and be able to just apply it to everyday life, whether it's personal or professional, and in collaboration settings, of course. I think that's originally what I wanted to do when I first met you guys. Is I really wanted to apply dance with collaboration. But then I got interested in other things, so there's not too much of an emphasis on that. But I would love to bring those lessons back because it's so important. The lesson itself of the actual journey in aging is something that's really important as well. And I think that it would only benefit us if we utilized every generation. Like again, when we were talking about teaching yesterday, of course, if we're focusing on youth and making sure that the youth are equipped and supported to be able to elevate this world and make the world a better place for generations to come, you know that's a good focus. But also like keeping in mind the teachers and adults who've actually kind of really not only been so immersed in their own journeys, but they have the capabilities to to guide and teach the youth. So every generation is just as important to the contributions of bettering this earth for other generations to come. And I think there's an imbalance um you know in that as well. I'm discovering that just trying to look for a job too, I do feel kind of discriminated against because I don't look as young as I used to. And as much Botox and filler as I put, even like a modest amount doesn't even help with that. I think um, not too many people see the value of a well educated, person, in their 50s, because we value youth way too much. I hope I'm making sense.
I almost vehemently agree with you. There is a sense in which there's how do I put this? People have a stereotype of what they're looking for. And they're always putting these requirements at some unreasonably high level. Like you have to be 90 percentile or 10 percentile, depending on how you look at it, in every category. Okay. You got to be a good communicator. You got to have good technical skills. You got to be able to write well. You got to be able to, run projects. You got to be able to, manage people. You got to be able to hire people. You got to be able to, fire people well, blah, 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 blah. You got to be 90 percentile at everything. That seems to be the underlying thought behind interviewing. And I don't even think hiring managers satisfy those requirements,
Hmm.
but yet that's what they're looking for.
Hmm.
And because they have a canned set of questions, I know a lot of people do. I am aware some people don't, but because they have a canned set of questions, they want to get from one question to another. So rather than letting one question spawn a real conversation that might go another three, four, five, six more questions, they have to move on to the next one. So this depth of thinking, these connections of thoughts and experiences, and the applicability to problems outside that particular first domain can't get teased out.
Yeah.
So there was a time when we used to, interview people and send them to five or six interviewers, and every interviewer would ask, their favorite set of questions, and at the end of the day, we would compile all the responses and figure it out. But I thought it was more effective for me just to do the one interview myself and then see if the person wants to do a 3 or 6 month, show me period.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if they did well, then fine, you're on permanently.
Right.
It doesn't take five or six people
Yeah.
because you're still working just on communication of that particular day, and you're trusting that that person's giving you good, accurate, honest information, which they probably are for, their own perspective. But to really see it, you got to give them a real problem and let them sink their claws, physical and virtual, and see what they can make out of the problem.
Right. Right.
Now, a lot of people can't do that. They need a job right away. So they can't try something for 3 to 6 months and then,
Right.
have that
Right.
risk of being let go. But for
Yeah.
those who are confident of themselves and say, yeah, I can show you, I know I can show you, then that's a welcome opportunity and it cuts down on the whole hiring, bullshit.
Yeah. That's the problem though with workplace is that there's like, it's a very shallow connection. Most people are in it to just like get a paycheck and go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very few people have the passion to do something, and even fewer people see the value of that because it's not set up that way. If we're going to change society, we have to change that way of thinking too. Everything has value. And the way that I can see it and the way that my actual experiences can contribute to it, especially with dance, is that harmony of family. Maybe not so much family itself, but that hierarchy that just harmonizes. When I look back at my dance group, it was like such, and again, there's always nuances with the individuals, but the founder was Graham. She was the grandmother who took care of the grandchildren while the parents worked. And so the parents worked, they made the money. Um, they also were involved too, but in like a different way. Um, Graham was the head. She oversaw everything. She took care of most of the business affairs. Auntie Ricky and Uncle Mel. Uncle Mel was the one who did the side job and cooked and created a franchise of Polynesian food, while his wife, Auntie Ricky, helped with the business part time, but she also helped with the dance group part time as well. But then it was the grandchildren. The grandchildren were the people who actually had like a lot of artistic capabilities, and they were supported in such a way by their grandmother to be able to carry this business that they took seriously and with all of their passion. They were able to put 100% into it. They got into the charter school. It's called OSHA. It's like an art school. It's dedicated to the arts. And one of them actually ended up going to UCLA, and then the other sibling actually ended up going and living in Tahiti. And so they were supported. The youth was supported, but there was value in the adults. There was value in, the ultimate matriarch who was in her 60s and 70s. There was value in the Auntie Ricky and Uncle Mel who were in their 40s and 50s. There was value in every single generation, and there was honor and the respect in that generation. I feel like in order to be able to change and level up, we just need to do that in everything. Cultivate the youth, make them better than us, but also, you know, make sure that the adults who have earned that right and who know how to manage a family, to manage like and inspire their workers, to take care of them in such a way that it's harmonious. I mean, I feel like our possibilities as humans here on Earth would be amazing. we would be able to steward the land properly. We would be able to take care of one another. We would be able to, you know, elevate and probably have more gifts. We would be able to utilize this energy, instead of taking fossil fuels. Um, it's just like so much I feel like we have to learn. And it's unfortunate that we've all, as humanity, we've become so like basic and simple minded and stupid, that it's preventing us from leveling up. Anyways, there's my little rant.
I had to bite my tongue to not interrupt so often because I love hearing that from you. You know, as you were talking about that, I was reflecting on the backgrounds of people who've been here for this conversation. And I can be wrong, so please correct me. But it may be true that you and I are the only ones who've come and, attempted CSG or GCC, who've come from a multi-generational household. I hear you talking about your extended family that way.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up until I was 6 in a multi-generational household, but then kind of virtually every Saturday, three, sometimes now four generations of my dad's family are on Zoom calls for 2 hours. The first hour is in English, the second hour is in Taiwanese. I don't
Yeah,
attend every one, but I go at least once every couple of months. Can you think of another CSG or GCC person who's confirmed or indicated that they're part of a multi-generational household growing up or part of one now? Anyway, we can answer that question later. But
yeah,
I can't tell you how strongly I resonate with what you just said. That we lose the value of our elders, the wisdom of our elders, when we put so much importance and value on youth.
right.
And we lose that perspective that the elders can give us that is way more strategic than young people can think and can also be a safety net for those in that extended family.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. It's like when I looked at the the nucleus of my dad's family, it was sustainable, it was safe, it was supporting, um, and it was limitless. I felt like that model was very limitless. I mean, the youth respected the elders supported the youth, and you had the worker bees and in between that supported everything. And, you know, I wouldn't say in smaller ways, but yeah. And then you
Some
have your time to be able to, and you learn from that just like that circle. And then when it's your time to be the matriarch or patriarch, then you can support the youth effectively. And then the youth become the worker bees that support everybody else. I don't know. I don't know if I can say it correctly, but I'm sure you get what I mean.
Did you watch any part of uh, the Foundation series on Apple TV? I think it is.
The Foundation series?
Yes,
No, I haven't looked at Apple TV for a while. I've got to look at it.
I could be wrong. I think it's on Apple, but Isaac Asimov wrote a series of books called Foundation, and I think you've heard me describe this. probably multiple times in the past. And it's an interesting, not very close to the book, but one of the things that they actually indicate is that there's an emperor of the empire. But because the emperor wants to retain control for thousands and thousands of years, he makes himself, quote unquote, the emperor for thousands and thousands of years by cloning himself. So there's always a version of him that's like, 50, 60, 70, like at the end of their life. There's a version of him in the 30s and 40s and 50s that's basically the current emperor. And then there's a version of him who's like 0 to 20, who's the most recent clone. So there's always three generations of clones always growing through. And then as, one dies or is killed, then
Uh-huh.
they create the new baby clone.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, it's an extreme example of what you and I were describing, but it's kind of
Yeah.
an interesting way to think about retaining quote unquote wisdom. In their sense, it was power. But you and I are talking more about wisdom and values and culture, practices. Uh, so, anyway, I thought I'd just make a reference to that. But in another way, I also want to think about a diagram. Think about the multi-generational diagram that you and I could create, which is, you got at least three generations, if not more. And you got relationships that are, quite broad. You got relationships, obviously, with your immediate family, but then you, because of the multi-generational nature, have relationships with uncles and aunts and nieces and nephews and grandaunts and granduncles and grandnieces and grandnephews, in addition to your direct line lineage. So that, if you're following, is a much richer network diagram than the atomic family that we have here that's quite normal, quote unquote, in the US. You got two
Right.
parents, you got one or two kids. That's it. That's the household. Yet
Yeah.
how often and how
Yep.
sad is it that you hear about families that, yeah, I haven't talked to my parents in years, or yeah, I haven't talked to my brother in years, or yeah, I haven't talked to
Mm-hmm.
my uncle in years, right? There isn't that tight sense of that value of retaining those connections.
Yeah.
And then if you sort of take one of these multi-generational family units and think, okay, well, one of them is going to marry someone else, right? So now you got two rich sets of multi-generational network relationships. And now through this association, now you got a possibility of many more. They're all going to meet at the wedding, whether it's, 2 hours or 3 days. And a lot of rich relationships will form out of that.
Right, right.
So you get this growing network effect. And
Yeah.
a multi-connection network is inherently stronger than these very, very isolated networks.
Right.
So the cultures that have come after hundreds or thousands of years, I think, represent that. If you look at Indian culture, there's a lot of multi-generationality in there. Chinese culture, Japanese culture, Polynesian culture also has that.
Yeah. Yep.
But if you look at the US, how many multi-generational homes have you seen here in the US? The only ones I've seen are, from the East, from Asian cultures who have transplanted here to the US. Like my grandmother used to live with us for a while in Albuquerque.
Right. Right. I know our
But
grandparents lived with us for some time too.
yeah, but too much people
Hmm.
think, oh, I got to strike out on my own, or I can't stand my parents. I need to just be free, quote unquote. Ay, ay, ay.
Yeah, there was such a disconnection. There is such a disconnection here. But then again, I know this isn't all families, but this is some families. I was telling my son, I'm sorry, you just reminded me of this too. I was telling my son, one of his friends ended up going to juvie, because they beat somebody up really bad, and they beat somebody up really bad in front of a Tesla. And so the Tesla car recorded everything. And so this person ended up going to juvie for, I think, almost a year, if not a year. And so, Damien actually connected with his childhood friends a couple of nights ago. And, that one friend was there. And that one friend, I guess it wasn't really him, but the influence of his cousin. And I remember that family actually, I know the mom. She's a single mom. Her ex-husband was terrible, um, and she tried very hard to get this her child, away from that environment. She succeeded with the first one, but the second one she did not succeed with that one. But my son disclosed to me that she wasn't really paying attention to him, and we learned that it was the cousin's influence and the insistence of family, that you keep that family nucleus together, that was the demise of this child. And so it always makes me wonder to where that disconnection happened here at the United States, or at this culture. I'm not quite sure about like the white people in Europe if they have multi-generational, households. I've never met anybody. Well, I've never really hung around with anybody from Europe to ask if they have that. Yeah, I take that back. My friend Christella, she's from France, and her dad lives with her from time to time, and they have a fairly decent relationship. But there's such a disconnection here in the United States that I wonder where it comes from sometimes. Was it trauma from past generations that came over here? Because I know the United States was kind of an escape for the settlers in Europe. Like, where did that disconnection happen? Is it even important? You know, I guess there's that one saying that, you know, your next move is more important than your last one. But, anyways, I still think there's a lot of value in multi generations. And it doesn't really even have to be your own family, it could be an environment such as work. If we don't have a bias, if we really, really don't, against the elderly people, or even a bias against the youth. A lot of people are saying Gen Zs are stupid. How much more powerful would we be as a species, and how faster would we level up if we again collaborated well, worked in harmony, and valued one another in every stage of our life.
I do a thought experiment with you
Okay.
because I do agree. And I want us to explore this one thing because at one point you asked why the difference here in the US.
Oh.
And I, in addition to you, don't have that experience with a multi generational white or European family.
Mm-hmm.
But think about it this way: we're told that the Puritans, quote unquote, left Europe and made this arduous trip, and many of them died. So whatever they left must have been pretty bad. Now, if you listen to their stories, they're trying to set up, their own way of living. The old system was bad, etc. I think I've heard also from the other side that the Puritans were essentially kicked out. They were not welcome where they were. Depends on who you listen to. Nevertheless, if things were working well, would you really, really want to leave in mass?
Yeah.
So something was wrong. So depending on who you want to listen to, it's always, yeah, well, we have to set up our own society or we want to do things for ourselves. Now, to me, that will be inevitable if whatever culture is being discussed and studied is not founded on truth. If it's founded on truth and really trying to get to better truth, and that's part of the culture, then minor disagreements can easily be worked out. And eventually everybody gets smarter and society gets better. If a society is not based on truth and someone quote unquote the black sheep or the rebel starts asking, well, why do we believe this or why do we believe that? At some point, that's not going to be welcome if dogma is more important than truth.
Yeah.
And that will create a rift. Either that group, the black sheep, is going to get kicked out, or they're going to say, I'm not party to this. I'm going to go someplace else where I don't have to believe this crap. So I don't know which side of the story is true, but whatever it was, there was a rift. And I think inevitably, if there's dogma, sooner or later, some person is going to say, or some group of people are going to say, I'm not putting up with this shit. So I'm making oblique references to systems of dogma, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. I know exactly what you mean. uh, yeah, I know.
And in the US, you get so many kids saying, oh, my parents made me do this, my parents made me do that. And they just want to get free from that. Oh, maybe it was
Yeah.
bad, but it's that they didn't appreciate what the parent was trying to do.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like, did you rebel? Did your dad or did your mom say, hey, you can't date until a certain age?
Oh, yeah, totally.
And did you rebel against that?
Oh my gosh, I rebelled, hey, I even rebelled until, you know, almost to my 50s.
Mhm. But do you now know what they were trying to do
Yeah,
that was
and
trying to
that's
be of benefit to you?
yes. Um, and I also recognize they weren't the best teachers. And
Yes.
that's why I say like, there are people who are better teachers. Um, it didn't mean that they didn't have any value. They had a lot of value. Like it's too bad my dad didn't really connect with deep thinkers because I think he would have probably broken out of his negativity if he connected with thinkers that were able to just encourage him to move past that thought, or
I agree
your
with you.
limiting negative thoughts.
Yes. Not
Yeah.
everybody is a good teacher, but I believe that if somebody loves you, they're actually trying their best to help you. Their
Oh,
best not be
totally.
great,
Yeah.
but they're actually trying their best.
I mean, yeah, again, a part of the journey is connecting with people who are able to give you those teachings. Like, I know there's like a ton of things that I cannot give my kids, a ton of lessons I can't give them. In fact, I know I probably are inhibiting them from certain lessons because A, they haven't found that person, or B, there's something that I'm sure I'm saying that just like makes people take a step back, right? That's how I felt with my parents too. Is there are things that they said that just like made me step back in hindsight. Um, and that's why I feel very strongly that the family nucleus, although a good example, shouldn't be the only example. I think, as we consider our own journeys right now, that we be available to be the type of support a young person needs in our age. And I also believe that we should get out of the way if we know that that's not our strong point, you know, to be mindful enough to go, yeah, I'm not really a good teacher. I know I'm not a good teacher when it comes to teaching young kids. I am not good at that at all. I don't have the patience. I like the thought of it just like makes me go, ooh. And it has nothing to do with like children at all. I love kids, but I cannot teach them. I can teach teenagers. I can teach young adults. And so I yield. I yield when it comes to certain things.
But see, if you're part of a network, or yielding is easy because you know that, oh, Uncle Ralph over there is way better at this than I am, then it's easier to yield, right? Say, hey, go talk to
Yeah,
Uncle Ralph. But if you're part of a very isolated, family unit, you may not have those connections.
yeah, yeah.
Then you got to look in the yellow pages. Did I just say yellow pages?
Yeah. Hey, that's what I did when I was
Yeah,
15. That's how I found my first dance group,
yeah,
you know.
yeah. Yellow pages was Google back then.
Oh yeah, it was so funny. I remember I looked under H for Hawaiian. I looked under P for Polynesian. I found it under P.
So going back to your point about, hey, it doesn't all have to be family. Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. In fact, the example I like to use is martial arts, where teaching, goes from master to disciple to students, and it's multi-generational in that aspect. Where if you're a white belt, you're not going to get attention from the, fifth dan, black belt guy, except maybe during the welcome ceremonies. But you're mostly going to be taught by some black belt or some, other high-ranking belt, because they can teach you the basics, and you don't need the master to, you know, drill those basics into you. Might check in on you every, week or month or whatever, but it'd be a waste
Mm-hmm.
of time to take a master. It'd be a waste of time to take you and make you teach the, 1 week new newbie class.
Right,
Your
right.
senior students can do that. So it exists in martial arts. It exists probably in other arts, music as well. Definitely music. Probably visual arts. Certainly in the military, that's the case.
Yeah.
And you know what? Now this gets to another dimension, fraternities. Because some people don't have family and yet they get so identified with their fraternity,
Mm-hmm.
which then easily leads to secret societies. But then again, that's the point in which I would like to make that distinction, which is, are they really caring because they're loving and wanting to find truth? Or are they trying to build, extend, and persist their hold on power and influence?
Yeah. The biggest kicker, right? Or an influence. People can't seem to get um let go of that, can they?
The early part of what you just said, I didn't hear. It was really, really low and it felt kind of muffled.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was sort of kind of covering my phone and I was speaking
Ah,
low.
Yeah. Okay. Now it's much better.
I was saying that people can't seem to let go of power and influence, can they?
They can't if they think that doing so will lead to a worse outcome. See, if someone is confident that, hey, I don't need to hold on to fear because that's not going to increase any danger to myself. If we had a healthy society, I think people would feel that way. There are
Yeah.
societies, I believe, that feel that way. Nobody needs to be, the chief because they're afraid of what the old chief do to them. Not if they have a good society and a just chief. It's when you don't believe that you'll be safe and
Right.
that the only way to be safe is to hang on to power. That's a sick society.
Right. Right. Agreed.
Or you really have such a sense of elitism that you think my network, my caste, my fraternity, my society, my family, my culture, my religion is better than others. So others
Mm-hmm.
don't deserve to survive. We deserve everything. That is malevolence and cruelty.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not a Pollyanna that says everybody is identical. So let me just say that. But out of all
Mm.
the differences, we still need to create a just society.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to look at the causes of these secret societies.
Yep.
And I do think I really like talking about multi-generational families and that as a model for society.
Yeah.
But when we
Absolutely.
do that, I think we also, as you pointed out, have to look at other multicellular, multi-generational, multi-connection links in other forms, not just families, and why they exist and the power that they exert and the influence that they have, and really, really understand that some of those don't have a healthy model of society that they're trying to attain.
Right. Right.
Even if you look at families, if you take a look at the Rothschild family, yeah, they're multi generational, they take care of themselves, but they believe they're better than everybody else.
It's crazy, right? It's a powerful thing, but it's also it just depends on the family, right?
Yes. I mean, I think that's a part of Romeo and Juliet we don't often spend a lot of time talking about. The Montagues versus the Capulets.
Mm-hmm.
That's family.
Oh my God, Romeo and Juliet. I had never thought I would fucking hate that.
Mm-hmm.
I swear that one English teacher ruined it for me. Now every time I
Oh,
hear it, Romeo and Juliet, I'm like, ah.
yeah. And
Yeah.
remember, I think one of the distinct things I remember is they're 14 years old, right?
Yeah. Yeah. There was so much perversion in that play that I didn't realize until now. I'm like, ew.
I mean, talk about fantasy and old stories.
Yeah.
Another reason I
Yeah.
don't like Disney, I hate Disney. What the fuck is some princess, laying out there in the forest sleeping for? And some guy comes, the guy did not just kiss her.
He wouldn't just kiss her. I know.
And who the hell calls himself Prince Charming?
A pervert. Only a pedophile would call themselves Prince Charming. Just
Yeah.
kidding. Oh boy. Disney is getting better. I do favor the Frozen stories of two sisters and their love for each other. I think that's great. I love how, there is no wedding. There's a coronation, but no wedding. And it's sad that I was actually conditioned to that belief that a man would complete my life.
Isn't that through all the early Disney shit?
Yeah, yeah. That it didn't
That,
matter. Like I could just like marry like after a day.
yeah,
I'm really
all
glad
that
that society has shifted. But I'm
all
sorry,
that
I
mattered was that
interrupted
you're
you.
beautiful and that your foot was a certain size.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. Isn't that crazy? The size of the foot. Who would have known? Hmm.
And
You know,
every parent was dysfunctional or stupid.
yeah,
There's an evil
yeah.
mother, evil stepmother, right?
There's a father, a stupid father,
Yes.
or even like a violent father.
Yeah. And that women are supposed to be attracted to these loud, stupid blowhards.
Yeah, exactly.
And yet the beast, who has a house, who owns a
He has a
library,
castle. He has a castle.
he's got lots of books, so it looks like he reads. He's the beast.
But he's a beast.
That's right.
He has a temper. I remember my dad laughed at that.
And
Uh,
yeah, I was very upfront with my kids that be careful about all these hidden assumptions and all these Disney stuff. I was not a strong supporter of Disney. In fact, I didn't. It carries through to this day. I never liked any of the shows that was on the Disney Channel. They all portrayed parents as bumbling fools.
yeah, yeah,
So insidiously, you're getting kids to not value parenting their
yeah,
parents.
yeah.
By the way, for the last 20 minutes, I've had a 75-pound dog just really relaxed right on me. It's like a warm blanket.
I'm watching my three dogs in the front yard. I'm gonna go meet my siblings for Easter dinner or Easter brunch.
Oh, this
Um,
is Easter Sunday then, right?
yeah, that's probably why Jack isn't here. He's got a family.
I wonder. Yeah. I don't get the sense that Jack is highly religious, but maybe he does do family things.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm, mm.
Hmm.
So, I was to recap a little bit. What's bouncing around in my head right now, in addition to multi-generational families and these kinds of ways of passing values and conventions, from generation to generation, there are other ideas that are sort of starting to form around how we might want to create a better society.
Yeah,
And I think I've alluded
actually, yes.
to eventual transparency
Mm-hmm.
and a certain love for truth and clear-headed thinking, early and sound education, and empowering teachers and really making them pour to a better society. And then teaching kids how to meditate, teaching everyone, but starting with kids how to meditate.
Yeah, yeah,
I think those are all core elements. So to me, it's interesting that if you were to ask me in 2017, how would you create a new society? I would not be able to give that answer. But by having so many conversations and poking at these ideas and looking at them in different ways and hearing objections from different people and hearing other people's contributions, this is what's gelling in my mind right now. And that was only possible through time and hundreds of conversations.
yeah. Right.
So I want to thank you for co-creating all of this.
Oh, you're very welcome.
By the way,
It's worth.
yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say it's worth it, right? That time. Again, if you're gonna look at your own personal journey, um, sometimes I think about this when people ask me if there's something that you could change, what would it be? Aside from the fact that I wish I wasn't as stupid, especially when it came to relationships, um, I don't know if I would change anything because, like, the lessons that I've learned so far have been very invaluable. And I've learned to
Yeah,
appreciate every stage of my life, um, regardless of how difficult it was. And that's one thing that I started with this week is gratitude. You know, every day just be try to be grateful for something.
I think that's a good habit.
Yeah.
Would it make sense? I'm asking this as a question because I only thought of it when you talked about it. It seems to me the two foundational values is gratitude and courage.
Yeah, I love courage.
I have to admit, I don't have enough courage. That's my personal flaw.
I feel like you want to change the world, right? Or I feel like you want to at least take the steps to make the world a better place in a larger sense. Am I right?
I would say yes. My problem is I don't take the first step.
It's daunting, isn't it? When you're given that opportunity, when you consider putting yourself out there, and I feel like you probably have a decent amount of courage, in a smaller sense, things that directly relate to you. But if you're wanting to help uh, the world, um, that's a lot. And taking the first
Yes.
step is like knowing the consequences in scale, because I've thought about it too. I have the ability to start, um, tomorrow if I wanted to, today if I wanted to. I have the connections to be able to start with my own community, but I don't do it because I think about like how daunting it is and the consequences of that would directly impact me and my family. At least, you know, waiting till my kids are a little older and getting a little stronger, for myself, I might consider that too. But it's a lot, and I feel like somebody like you, who you've probably thought it through, and you know, I don't know, is it the consequences that scare you, or you just don't take that first step?
The consequences don't scare me at all. In fact, I
Mm.
don't even think about the consequences. It's more the it's more the thinking that you can't pour from an empty cup.
Yeah, that's funny because I would think that you were anything but empty.
Mm.
But you know what? I always think too, if I don't do it, it means that there's something there might be a step that I need to take too. Whether that step is to wait, whether that step is to get over myself and my fears, whether that step is to do something that I don't know yet that will help me, be a lot more effective when I'm trying to save the world. So, but it is kind of a daunting thing. So I've actually shifted to where every morning I will say a prayer of gratitude. And then I will, ask the universe or God to do like whatever it is. Like, I give it up to you. Here's where I want to go, like in my experiences, but I will give it up to you to guide me the best way that I can be. I'll do the work, but the higher power, you guys direct me. You know, I'll set my intentions out there. You guys direct me to that. And I actually thought about that weird thing that I used to tell myself, like, I'm going to save the world and die trying, or die trying, not and die trying, or die trying.
Mhm.
And so it's kind of nice because I've made peace with the possibilities. Like maybe saving the world is, being the director of development for that hostel program or the rape center. By the way, I have an interview with UCLA, Rape Center, to be their associate director of, leadership giving. So I have an interview with them tomorrow. I'm really excited about that. Maybe that's my contribution to the world. Maybe it isn't in a large scale. Maybe it isn't in a jungle with a machine gun ready to be frontline battle and fight.
I
Maybe
think
it's,
you
go ahead.
weren't
You
done.
think, no, 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 that's totally fine. I could go off, but go ahead. You think what?
This is the think globally, act locally thing, which I
Yeah.
strongly believe,
Yeah. Yeah.
because that's the thing. I feel like I have to take care of a few things and then I can start doing that.
Yeah.
And I've
Yeah.
been thinking that for 20 years. Got to take care of a few things, then I can start.
I'm excited. I'm getting finally getting like the possibilities that I've kind of dreamed about. You know,
You
the
are.
the hos the high USA hostling thing is a dream. And the
Mhm.
possibilities for that, like the experiences for that, oh my gosh. We were just talking about that. You know,
Yes,
supporting youth, collaboration, like that is making a difference in a global scale. And the wonderful part about it is most of their donors are actually older. They're
hmm
actually like, they get most of their revenue from planned income, from planned giving.
hmm
So High USA has a lot of older people investing in it, and they're putting, the organization in their wills. I think that is absolutely phenomenal,
That's an
you
awesome
know?
network.
Yeah. And so what they're trying to do is they're trying to grow in other ways, of course, that are a lot more sustainable because, if all of the older people are dying, we obviously have to regenerate too. And that's another thing that's the problem with capitalism. So the question kind of becomes like, how are we going to do that? How are you going to see the value that these older people had? And a part of that, I'm excited, could be, my experience with culture and multi generations. That could be a really good bridging point. Um, Aside from my passion of traveling, and my belief that we really need to give ourselves that opportunity to see other societies without judgment and learn how to collaborate and learn how to speak with one another. So I'm really excited about that possibility. That would be a dream. You know, there's another.
The
I don't have an interview with them yet. I just completed a one-way interview, which was really weird. I'm not used to that, so I'm hoping I get an interview with them. But they're an organization that empowers women, that really makes space for leadership. And then they have these retreats for women in leadership and in empower on this land that they cultivate. And, that one's interesting too. That to me kind of aligns with like really stewarding the land and empowering women, and making sure that you're giving back to Mother Earth and working in connection with that because I do believe we're connected with one another. Um, and then, of course, there's the direct services with the Rape Center, that, of course, directly helps women who have been victims and who are surviving, something that's so important. I do believe that the imbalance of power between men and women needs so much more work, even though we're going towards that. So that would be obviously a natural fit. But all of this is kind of, you know, manifesting, right?
I like the energy I hear in you when you talk about these opportunities.
Yeah. And you know what? All of them are higher paying jobs. That helps. I still need to fucking take care of my kids and put them through college and, make sure that my
Yeah.
dogs are well and my home is, you know, not falling apart.
So I think you get it, when I say, yeah, there's a few things I have to take care of, and then I can, take those bigger steps.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, totally. I get it. Oh, wow. We're almost at the top of the hour. See, another good conversation.
And it's leading to so many more directions and questions that I was wondering whether to ask them or whether we should say, hey, this has really been good. I really enjoy kind of the exploration of the main theme, which I believe for me was the multi-generational, lost benefits of, and how that could strengthen societies. And
Yeah.
then this interesting balance with, well, what do we do with other um, cellular or multi-network kinds of social structures, and how we counter some of the more malevolent ones? That's really front and center right now these days.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yes, I really enjoyed the conversation both yesterday and today, and it's leading to a lot more questions that we could pursue in upcoming conversations.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh no, Indy. Yes, your bladder is looking oh like he's got a big his balls are round like a bladder infection or something.
Mm.
Dang, poor guy. My old doggy. There's very little that we could do for him.
Well, it sounds to me like he's like a good life.
Yeah, yeah. He's a grouchy old man, but he definitely had a great life. He's the dog that spent lots of off leash hiking with me.
I
Unfortunately,
like
he
to
can't
think that
hear much anymore. I'm sorry, you like to think what?
grouchy old men in some way have earned the right to be grouchy old men.
Yeah.
And grouchy old women.
Yeah, totally. You just roll your eyes and let them be.
Because at that point, there's no point to being politically correct.
Yeah, totally. Oh boy.
I think I hit that
Well,
years ago.
if it's okay with you, I'm gonna call it a day. I have to take a shower. I'm like itching my scalp. My hair needs a nice good wash.
I think it's okay. You have my permission
Yeah.
to go take a shower.
I was hoping to poop first, but
You have my
oh
permission to
well.
go poop.
No, I can't. I can't. I had 2 cups of coffee, and still I can't poop. Well, not can't, but I guess it's my bowel movements. Must have been the steak, like
Ooh, yeah.
slowly processing.
I think a combination for me that always worked was root beer and coffee and a hamburger. That always
Yeah.
did it.
Oh boy.
All right. And with
All
that
right.
wonderful thought,
Yes, there you go. Delicious.
Kayla, this is good. Thanks. Talk to you next time.
Thank you. Sounds
Okay.
good.
Bye for
Okay,
now.
bye.